One of the problems that we had with the car before we started on it was that the seat, when it slid, it didn't go back all the way because the amplifier's in the way. These amplifiers are way too big for this installation. I would have never sold somebody something like this. Now we have to figure out how we're going to get them all to go in here and add the DM810 and still make the seat function. That's proving to be somewhat of a challenge. We've taken all the amplifiers, I've covered them in blue tape, been playing building blocks with the amplifiers and trying to come up with a plan. We've covered up the outside air vent, this guy right here, so we still have the one in the middle. And how you do that is we cut an 1/8 inch piece of ABS, we put foam on one side as a gasket, and then we use roadkill over that to seal it all in and make it watertight. And that's given us this block of room here, but it's still not really enough room to fit everything. But we have to start somewhere. When deciding on amplifiers, it's very important to figure out where they're going to go first. You have two different styles of amplifiers. You have amplifiers with a wire that comes out on one end like this, and then you have amplifiers where the wires come out of the opposite ends. That's important to know when choosing amplifiers for your installation. In this case, it's kind of, neither one of them are good. It's just proving to be difficult. I went and cut a big piece of plastic that I just want to get in this area and get it to fit so that I can start trying to manipulate these amplifiers into here and come up with some kind of plan to make this stuff fit. The other thing I have to keep in mind too is that, like, during the center area here, the carpet has to stay there because the seat folds down and you can see that. Lots of fun. I put this panel back on just to give me an idea. So over here, there's a hump here, and there's another one down in the bottom. I've kind of gauged those onto this piece of plastic. What I'm looking at is there's these clip revisions all throughout here, which would make great places to put rivets and screw things down. But we got to get it fit flush into this first. I'm gonna go grind these off. Fits pretty close. I need to remove some here. We're getting closer. To help me with this, I want to get this panel mounted. To do that, I'm going to add some nut certs into it. I just need to drill some of these holes a little bigger. For those of you unfamiliar with nut certs, what they are is it's like a bolt that gets put into a hole in the piece of metal and will allow us to put a threaded screw in there. It's like a rivet. You put it into the hole and you just squeeze it in. You're done. Now that'll allow us to put this on here. We get it all lined up where we want it. We push. It'll put an indentation of the nut cert into our plastic, which we can then go and drill out. At least have something attached. Thinking if I put the small one over here as far this way as possible, I need to be able to get to my wiring, bigger one here, and then I can put the small down here. I still don't know where I'm gonna put the DM810, but at least I'll have all my amplifiers somewhere, which is a start. Now this is just flopping. What I'll do is I'll build a brace that comes off of here and hold this in through the top because I have plenty of room to do that. What I'm hoping is that I'll be able to run the power wire up this way and out of the way, and maybe have it come put the fuse holder somewhere in this area. I don't know yet. Possibly put the fuse holder right here, possibly down here, and build a second piece to hold that in place. Now this little guy, I'm thinking will be able to go here at the base, if I can get it far enough forward. There is this tube right here, but I can just retape that and get that tucked up in there. So we took a pause to put the seat in and figure out where this sits and slide it back. I needed to know where that amplifier needs to be in order for this to have full range of movement. So now I have an idea of what piece of plastic I need to cut for that. I'm thinking I might be able to hover the DM810 here, but I don't know yet. We'll see. So after many trips back and forth to the table saw, measuring, cutting, all that fun stuff, this is what we come up with for the amp rack. The small floor channel is mounted flush up against the back brace. This is raised off the surface an inch. That will allow wires to pass underneath, back and forth cleanly. This amplifier is tucked up in. There's still about an inch behind it. Wires will have to go that way. This is attached here and here. This is a separate attachment. We have the top braces now in. The DSP is located here. The vent is still in place. This is sitting off of the vent so that it can still breathe. It is attached in the bottom here, and of course up here. This area here is going to be for the RCAs to come. As you can see, it's raised. We're going to keep those raised off of the platform into this, so we'll build some more bracing over here. Power wire will stay flat because it's going to lead over into this, which is the fuse holder here, and that will go off this way. On this side of the car, we're going to have our speaker wires come up, and they have to get over to there to Fernando. We'll run them up the side here, across the center because there is a gap there, and into the factory amplifier. Up that side of the car is going to be the 0-gauge power wire, Toshlink cable. This side is going to have the bass knob wire. It is the shorter run because it's on this side of the amplifier. All the RCAs, as I said, are going to just be in this area, so there won't be any of them anywhere near, and the Toshlink is light so it can't pick up any engine noise next to that. Power cable, it's multiple pieces. There's actually 4 pieces here. 1, 2, fuse, DSP. We have to get these all out onto the bench and start wiring these up in a manner that we'll be able to carry them back in here and attach them all in place. It's not going to be easy, that's for sure, but let's give it a go. Everything is out of the car and laid out on the bench. This is kind of the position that I'm going to have to wire this up as. In the car, this is going to sit like this, so I've lined it up with how far over it's going to be. That way I can get my wiring ran. There is a slight gap here in the car. We did that on purpose because there's a factory wire that goes here. That's why this is not attached. We have the power distribution. We have the wire that can run underneath here. Really, we just need to get started on the madness that is going to be wiring all this up. So let's get started. The amp rack is finally finished. This one took a long time. There was a lot of moving pieces, as it were, because like this stuff isn't connected. And there's just so much equipment on here. Routing all these cables and getting everything to length. It took a while, but it's finally done. Now comes the fun part of getting it off of here and into the car. We didn't connect the zero gauge into here. We actually ran that through the car, and we'll connect it in the back because I didn't want to have to carry 10 pounds of zero gauge on this as well. I think this is going to be a two-man job. This one goes behind it. Perfect. The amplifiers are mounted in place. Now we just have to run the left and right wires and ground it. That's why we like to do things on the bench and get all that work done. If I had to sit back here for hours and hours and do this, that would suck. He already ran the zero gauge. When we were taking it apart, we knew running the zero gauge was going to be a struggle for sure, and it didn't disappoint. It's a struggle. We've got it up here behind the panel. The real problem is these things here, they have to snap into place. There's a cover that goes over these, this piece right here. Taking this cover off, getting this all to sit flush in there, and then have that snap back on. Took a while, that is for sure. Zero gauge is not friendly in this car. Got the front one back on, had to move things around, get them nice and tight in there, but it's all insulated. It snapped back in place. We also have a Tosh cable that's going to come up through here, but because this seat is already unscrewed, plan is to bring it, turn it, go around, come up here, and there's the Amp Pro there, and then we'll have that mounted in place for it to snap into. But sometimes it's these little things like just running the power wire that can take forever. It's right here, so I can attach that into my block. Right now he's running the Tosh link and the remote turn on down that side, and then he can start putting that side of the car back together. And then on this side we just have the bass knob and the speaker wires to run. A little bit easier, not much, but a little.